But I'm Hilary Carter. I lead research at the Linux Foundation, and I joined the LF 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, to launch and lead, that's awesome, thank you, Ramon, to launch and lead research. And for the past 5 years, I have been investigating how open source is driving business value, is driving technical innovation, and is essential to organizational competitive advantage. So I'm so thrilled to have this opportunity to present some of these recent findings from 2025 for the drone industry, and to see so many new faces here in the audience, because as Ramon said, you know, the open source is only as strong as its community, but I think you're all in the right room, because organizations are also as strong as their open source engagement. So I've got the data to back up that claim today, and that's what I want to dig into today. So the advantage, I've got 3 advantages that I want to share, which are going to validate the decision that you've made to come here to Atlanta and to engage in the PX4 Developer Summit and the Drone Code Foundation. So let's dig in. Very briefly, Linux Foundation Research has been empirically measuring open source dynamics, contribution trends, project impact, the return on investment that organizations are making into their open source projects, how that influence in the technical direction of the project is actually creating material business value, how engaging in a project working group or special interest group is creating business value. And we've done so within industries like financial services, manufacturing industries, telco and automotive, and motion pictures, software-defined industries creating real business value through open source. I happen to live and work in Canada, and it's great that, you know, these opportunities exist no matter where we live in the world. There's a place for each and every one of us in open source. I have happened to found my place in research. So we very much co-create all of our studies with the community. We are the mechanism through which your experiences in drone development can be heard. How are you using real-time operating systems? We happen to have a study in the field right now that's measuring the Zephyr project. Who knows about the Zephyr project? Yeah, it's turning 10 next year. We're going to have some awesome data about the impact of the Zephyr project in terms of individual developers, companies, and within industry transformation. So stay tuned for that. That's going to come out next year. All of our reports are available under Creative Commons license. All of the data sets that we generate, whether it's from GitHub repos, software composition analysis data, or survey data, is available under not Creative Commons license, Community Data License Agreement 2.0, available for your use and exploration. So download our reports for free. We're not going to gate you. Just have a peruse at linuxfoundation.org/research. So let me start with the very first important advantage for the drone industry of open source collaboration, and it is about security, cybersecurity. Why should drone companies care about open source? In general, because of cybersecurity. We are a really important community to keep all of you on top of security best practices. But in particular, because of this regulation out of Europe called the Cyber Resilience Act. Show of hands, please. How many of you are aware of the CRA, Cyber Resilience Act, coming out in Europe? Okay, this is really important, because if you're not familiar with the CRA and your company is selling products with digital elements, any kind of software and any kind of piece of hardware, your company is required to comply with the Cyber Resilience Act. It's a really big deal. If you're selling products in Europe, get to know the CRA. That's one of the things that we're doing at the Linux Foundation, helping educate our members and our project leaders about regulation and lowering the costs of your regulatory compliance, because you're showing up at the meetings and you're learning about things like the CRA. So research is showing a couple of things. It's showing that, you know, not enough organizations are familiar with the CRA, and that drone manufacturers, importers, distributors, they too must ensure that their products are secure by design. So let's take a look at some of the findings from CRA-specific research. If you haven't heard of the CRA, don't worry, you're not alone, because a majority of people in technology spaces worldwide are unfamiliar with the CRA. They don't know what the requirements are, they don't know what the timelines are, they don't know what the penalties are. The CRA comes into full force at the end of 2027. So the clock is ticking and the penalties are severe, the percentages of revenue. So spend a little time with your cybersecurity teams, find out what your requirements are as a manufacturer if you're shipping product to Europe. As a result of this study, we are able to try to change that trajectory so that more folks are aware of the CRA. We've got working groups on how to create tooling and standards to set everybody up for success for Cyber Resilience Act compliance. Another thing we learned about the CRA is prices are going to go up. Regulation is costly. It costs a lot of money to hire cybersecurity experts who are going to put the mechanisms in place to meet the requirements of the CRA, and they're going to pass those costs on to their products. What we know is at least prices are going to go up by 6%. That's inflationary, and that's only among those people who've even thought about it. I think prices are going to go up even a little higher. Next year, we're going to run this study again to see if we have made any progress in terms of awareness and readiness for the Cyber Resilience Act. What we do know, and this is the good news, and this is why you're all in the right room today, is because engagement in open source project communities, like the Drone Code Foundation, is preparing you for success. You're now twice as likely to be in a position to better assess the security practices simply by way of showing up and having access to tools and access to more information. There's all kinds of resources and information about how you produce an SBOM, software bill of materials. It's one of the requirements of the CRA. These are the kinds of resources that the Linux Foundation can help steward. And this is why engagement in a community like this is really important. Learn from each other, understand how are you complying with the CRA, what resources have you found really helpful, how do you build an SBOM, and so on and so forth. So fast forward to the next advantage, which is one of economics and business value. So increasingly at the Linux Foundation, we are measuring the return on investment of open source broadly. The economic benefit of using open source code, the economic benefit of contributing back upstream and influencing the technical direction of the project. How much money did you save because somebody else made a commit that you didn't have to? How much money did you save by keeping an eye on a project and making sure it was meeting your business needs down the road? So code quality, another huge economic benefit. Speed to financing. If you have a startup or you're looking to monetize, you're looking to fundraise, faster time to market, lowering the total cost of ownership of your technology stack, and increasing opportunities for funding and financing and exit that much faster. So first, we know that open ecosystems lower barriers to entry and reduce waste. They reduce redundant engineering. You don't have to rebuild what already exists. PX4 exists. In drones, this infrastructure, QGC, Maverick, these form industry-wide building blocks that you don't have to go and build again. So that's a huge benefit right out of the gates, the benefit to innovation all over the world. Companies use it, build on it, sell product, everybody wins. But then it's important to give back upstream and engage and share knowledge and build an even stronger, more robust ecosystem. So it's very clear from our studies that engaging in open source projects is making companies more competitive. It's lowering their costs, it's increasing knowledge networks of the product, and so on. Where AI is concerned, Its use is forecast to substantially reduce business operating costs through greater productivity by at least 50%. And when you combine AI innovation with open source software's cost savings, you have a really powerful potential for revenue gain. And more organizations are figuring this out, this intersection between innovation and revenue gain. Very powerful combination. So a brief word about the financial services industry. ROI is in their DNA. They don't do anything because it feels good. It has to be relevant in terms of economic returns. And for 5 years, the banking industry has done nothing but grow and grow and grow within open source. All of the major banks are engaging in financial services specific open source project communities. Our banking industry vertical is a bellwether for other industries. If the banks get it, it's a signal. Collaboration in open source communities is materially, significantly relevant. And this year we had one stat just to say that nearly 20% of organizations are realizing annual cost savings of more than $1 million, and we think this is a gross underestimate. One of the challenges we have in measuring research is that some of our survey takers are not intimately familiar with every single development department across their large organization or their total IT budget worldwide. But the signals are all there. The ROI data is in, and the banks get it because they understand ROI intimately. So take that as a really healthy signal for the drone industry. Developers also really enjoy contributing to open source projects. They like contributing back upstream, even in the banking sector. When we ask why financial services team members contribute to open source projects, ROI was number 2. But because they enjoyed it so much, it still ranks as their main motivation. It's a fun thing to do. People really enjoy the experience of contributing to open source projects. So companies need to keep this in mind when they're trying to nurture teams, attract talent, making sure that they're an open source first organization. It makes your company a better place to work. So keep up the good engagement. Third, I want to talk about skills as a segue. We've talked about workplace health and keeping your team members happy, but furthering that is this need to upskill our team members and to create a workplace culture that really does nurture ongoing open source collaboration. So beyond attracting talent, the third advantage is around skilling. And our research is showing that turnover costs are really high. So employee intention is key. And open source engagement and collaboration, along with upskilling, are 2 of the most important things that your company can do to attract and retain top talent. So here's some specifics. Right now we have a talent shortage, and it's largely due to AI. And it's not shrinking workforces, not in the technology domain in any case, maybe in customer support, maybe at call centers, but not in tech. In fact, there's a real significant shortage due to AI, and the net hiring effect is actually up 21%. And how are organizations navigating this talent shortage? They have to train, they have to upskill, they have to work with the talent that they have, because you cannot hire your way out of the talent shortage. So keep your team members engaged, train them up, give them the certs that they need. That is going to help the overall competitive advantage, keep your team members happy. So it should come to no surprise that the areas facing the most critical shortage are related to AI and ML and cybersecurity. And I think regulation is driving a lot of that, and maybe just a titch of hype too. Open source culture is huge, and it's really effective for talent retention, not just attraction. As our financial services study revealed, people really like to participate in open source. They get a lot out of it. So it's a great strategy. It's a great approach. Keeping your engineers engaged. PX4 and drone code project experiences are like a passport for your team. And this community, like so many other open source project communities, is a forum for bringing talent together. I bet you'll be having a few conversations today about, where are you finding good people to join your team? And you'll probably be finding that if you can't hire somebody, maybe somebody within this community can help you solve a problem that you're facing within a project. Technical growth opportunities are really important. 93% of our studies respondents they consider that technical growth is the most effective talent retention strategy. And open source is the way that you can deliver on that, keeping your engineers engaged, keeping them recognized and connected to one another. So all combined, certifications and training, attending events, and just basically observing the code contributions in the existing project repos, they're creating growth opportunities for your tech teams and better performance for your company as a result. So what could new research reveal for drone developers? While we've been able to illustrate the benefits of open source collaboration to achieve the kind of triple advantage in security and ROI and innovation and skilling and talent management, there's a lot more that we could explore. And to enhance organizational culture, specifically for the drone industry, what are this industry's unique needs? How impactful are the existing projects? What do they need? And what we want to do through research is to help the community scale, to help influence responsible government policy, and to help more organizations understand the benefits of open source, to dispel some of the myths and misperceptions that may be out there. So research in the domain can help all of you better understand what's the uptake of some of the core projects of the Drone Code Foundation. How is it being used? What are the use cases? What are the contribution dynamics? Where are they coming from? What's the return on investment of those contributions? What's the propensity of leadership and formal open source policies and practices through an open source program office, through the OSPO? What are some of the cross-industry trends? We saw a slide earlier today from Ramon about ELISA and space-grade Linux. You have an RTOS working group. There's lots of cross-industry collaboration. What's that doing for the drone industry? Thought leadership. How are you all changing the game for your industry and sharing your story through a research collaboration for the benefit of others? If you can do it, someone's probably going to think that they can do it too. And that's a positive effect for innovation. And there's a lot more. So with that, I invite you to reach out with any questions that you might have with respect to any of the studies that we've done at Linux Foundation Research. And thanks so much for being part of today and tomorrow and this great event, and for contributions that you've made to date and will make in the future. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.